questions I receive most frequently from teachers is, how did you get your job? I remember very clearly being in the classroom and knowing I needed to be doing something else, but not knowing how to make that transition, so I completely understand where that question's coming from. I'm Allie Parrish, and this is my teacher transition story. So, I could tell when I was in the classroom which things I was most passionate about, which things really brought me to life as a teacher, and I focused in on those specific things. I started training and presenting on those things at educational conferences, and while presenting at some of the conferences, the curriculum providing companies whose resources and materials I was presenting on, and others, they were there. And they didn't want to have to fly their employees all the way across the country to my region to train educators on them. So they asked if I would be interested in becoming an ed tech trainer for them. Absolutely, yes. So that was my first step from the classroom to my next thing. I then became an educational consultant. I advised district leaders, administrators, instructional coaches, and teachers, and trained them on how to use best materials and resources out there in the most effective ways for their students. So I loved that role. Being an educational consultant was awesome in so many ways. I could tell while doing it that I still wanted to expand my skill set in some new ways. So I started working at the university level as adjunct faculty. Along with that, I also started working at an instructional design agency. At the instructional design agency, we made materials for very large companies. Companies like Nike, Deloitte, HP, John Deere, medical companies, and others. We made learning materials so that they could have live trainings, or so they could have online learning materials and resources. Maybe this was to train their clients or customers, or new hires, or employees that they'd had for a while. After being an instructional designer and a learning strategist and working a little bit with project management, I then took a job at another company where we made learning materials for youth and adults on how to become their best selves, character development, and so much more. The learning materials we created were for live instruction as well as for online content and lessons and materials. Those resources were then translated into 36 languages and distributed globally. My role on those projects was partially an instructional designer, partially a learning strategist, and definitely a project manager. I got to help advise the clients as well as orchestrate the work that our entire production team did. And I absolutely loved it. After that, I then developed my own company. I was a learning strategist advising large clients on how to create the most effective learning materials and resources for their audiences, whether their audiences were K through 12 schools or whether their audiences were large corporations. And I really enjoyed that role. That role then grew, and the company grew into an agency. And we now create learning materials for those clients. So I hire instructional designers, I hire learning strategists, I hire writers who can create manuals or materials or on-screen text or experiences in teacher manuals or instructor manuals for live trainings or other resources. I also hire people who can create effective learning videos and other material, all which populates instruction and learning experiences for people online or live, depending on what our clients need. So, where has this come from? It's come from being a teacher. Being a teacher is an incredible place to start. It is an incredible place to learn skills, to be able to contribute in the world beyond the classroom. So, that is what I do as far as work goes. And teacher transition is an effort I've created on the side because I remember how hard it was to be a teacher and to know I needed to be doing something beyond the walls of my classroom, but not knowing how to make that transition. So if you're in the shoes of not knowing what to do next, but knowing you need to be doing something else, we can help. Or maybe you know what you want to do next, but you're not sure how to take those next steps. Whether you want to become an instructional designer, an educational consultant, a learning strategist, a project manager, or so much more. We're here to help you with all of these steps. If you want to hear from former teachers who now do other incredible things beyond the classroom, we have resources for that. If you want help in taking those next steps, we have resources for you for that. Our goal is to help you with yours and to make your teacher transition as smooth, as comfortable, as confident, and as successful as possible. I'm Allie Parrish. I help lead teachertransition.com, and I'm happy to help you with your transition from the classroom to everything that you want to do next.